Hi, everybody. Look, it's us, the Killer Author Club. we're down a person right now. We're not sure whether she's going to show up, but we're hoping she will. Okay, so this is another episode of the Killer Author Club, and we're here with the one and only, maybe, Megan Goldin, all the way from Australia. If not, we're going to be here with you guys. We have tons to talk about, so grab your cocktail, your list of questions for Megan, or perhaps us at this point, and sit tight. We will see you on the flip side.
Thought you really loved me, guess I was wrong. Thought you'd never leave me, guess I was dumb. Waited like forever to be your plus one, but I guess you were done.
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Killer Kara Ruda, along with founding members Heather Gudenkopf and Kimberly Bell, and we're so excited to maybe welcome Megan Goldin to the clubhouse. The Killers and I started Killer Author Club so that readers like you could interact with some of the best suspense and thriller authors in the business. Killers like Samantha Downing, Sherry Lapina, Frida McFadden, and the amazing and hilarious Karen Slaughter, among many others that you guys have had on the show with us. So dates, times, and all of that can be found on killerauthorclub.com. And so tonight we were planning on talking to Megan about Killing of the Fictional Kind. And, right. And if she doesn't show up, we can still talk about Killing of the Fictional Kind. And, you guys think of some other questions for maybe some of us if you'd like to, but we can also talk about the book too, because I'm sure you guys have all read it. All right. If you're watching this on Facebook or have a Facebook account, check out our public group, Killer Author Club. Or if you're a really hardcore killer, our private members only group called the Killer Author Clubhouse, where we host our book clubs and where we recently chatted with Rachel Kohler Croft about her smash hit Stone Cold Fox. I love that book. Next up, Nicole Bart and the Fabulous and Fascinating The Long Way Back on August 15th. And One Lucky Book Club is already being sent copies for their book club. So that's really fun too. All right. And again, that happens exclusively in the clubhouse. So you do need to join Killer Author Clubhouse on Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel where you can stream us to your big flat screen TV, and you can find us all wasting too much time on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of the other things that I don't know. Threads. For links to everything, watch the comments or check out our Killer Author Club website, killerauthorclub.com. And now, without further ado, Kimberly, would you can introduce our killer guest, because she is amazing and she might appear at any time. It's a killer mystery. So go ahead.
This could be really cool or it could be really weird.
Pop in at any moment.
I know. So Megan Goldin is the author of The Escape Room, Stay Awake, and The Night Swim. She worked as a correspondent for Reuters and other media outlets where she covered war, peace, international terrorism, and financial meltdowns in the Middle East and Asia. She is based in Melbourne, Australia, where she raises 3 sons and a golden Labrador. Her newest novel, Dark Corners, is a Book of the Month pick for July, and it comes out in August. So, and Dark Corners is actually book number 2. It follows The Night Swim.
Which I loved. I love The Night Swim. So I am just so excited about this book. So I'm really excited to see where Megan has taken the main character in that story. So very good, very good. And she had a cocktail too that she sent us. So we'll go ahead and share the cocktail. And she called this one the Dark Corners Coffee Martini. Have you ever had a coffee martini?
I love coffee martinis. I could chug them. Like, they're sweet, they're coffee. I mean, what's not to love?
Are they cold? Is it
Yes.
a cold drink? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And they get foamy on the top because when they shake them up, I mean, they're just delicious.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like dessert and coffee at the same time. And booze.
And booze. The 3 major food groups.
Yeah. All right. So cheers to that and the coffee martini. So now you have another killer cocktail cocktail.
And cheers to Megan, and congratulations on her newest read, which is the book of the month pick, which is a huge honor in the literary world. So that's great news. And we hope everything's okay and that it's just some odd technical issue that she can't be here with us tonight.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So what we're going to do, because we're a live show, is we're going to wing it a little bit.
It's our favorite thing to do.
It is our favorite thing to do. Not really. No, we don't like to wing it, but you guys, we don't want you to be bored. And I did see some questions coming in for like us, because we're all you got tonight. So the killer question is, we were going to ask Megan, when do you kill? So I'm thinking maybe Heather, putting you on the spot. When do you like to kill?
You know, when I get asked this question, I'm kind of embarrassed, because all these, great authors, they're all like get up at the crack of dawn, like the 6 a.m. Writers Club, or they work late into the night. I do not get up early, and I do not stay up late. So I'm a smack dab in the middle of the day kind of writer. There's nothing, exciting or fancy about that. I kind of have my little routine. I get my drink, my water for the morning.
Your coffee martini.
Get my little routine, and I write. And it also for me depends on what part of the project I'm in. So that brainstorming time of planning a book can be anytime. It's in anywhere. But and then I've delved into outlining, which
how's that going?
It's it went really well, actually. And I got this nice outline. I jumped into the book. I will keep you posted on how that's working for me, if I stay disciplined and stay according to the path I've laid out. We'll see. And then of course, like every author gets on a deadline, then I write 24/7. And so how about you guys? When do you kill?
Kimberly.
So I am a very early morning killer. I like to wake up, I walk the dogs, get my coffee, I do a quick run through my emails and socials, and then I write. So I am usually 8 to 12 killer, and then I break for lunch. And then I kill some more in the afternoon until I hit my word count. But yeah, mornings is my thing. I kind of run out of steam. My brain gets tired, and then nothing else comes out.
Yeah. I'm trying something a little different with this book. I used to do word counts, like for my last projects. I decided to try page counts this time.
Why?
I don't know. I just think sometimes like the word count gets so, like, okay, I got to get 3 more words, or I have to get, you know what I mean? And if I focus on pages, I'm just trying it. It seems to take a little bit of the pressure off. I don't know.
Do you write in Word? Is that?
Yeah, I've done it a couple different ways. This one I'm starting in Word. I've used Scrivener, which I like too, just for organizational purposes.
Yeah.
But I use
you can't count pages in Scrivener. You have
No, you can't. Yeah. That's what's different. Yeah. So I'm just trying a few different things.
Yeah,
it could be a disaster. It could be a disaster, but I'll let you know.
It won't be. What about you, Kara?
I like to kill at night. That's my favorite time to kill. But, since I have a husband and stuff, like he's kind of lonely when I do that now. And I used to stay up really late, like after the kids were in bed, and that's when I was writing and killing. But now I think my time I start killing is around like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. Like the mornings, I'm not a morning person, so I'll be doing email and all the marketing business stuff. And then about 1 o'clock is when like my killing brain starts firing up, and that's when I like to start writing until as long as I can, until he's like, are we having dinner, or do you want to have
on your own?
Yeah, exactly.
So I have another question for you guys, because we were talking before about the coffee martini. There's this saying in the writing world that's write drunk, edit sober. But can you guys like have a cocktail and keep writing? Me neither.
I can't.
Yes.
My brain, like one sip of wine, it's like,
Yeah.
that's it. No more.
Really? My brain likes that.
I'd get too tired. Although it would be kind of fun experiment to try, sometime just to knock back a few and then just.
And then just go see if it
But what you
helps.
should do is write at night or kill at night, and then it's okay to have a cocktail while you're killing. You know what I mean?
I lose thread of the track of the story then. Like, it's like, where am I going with this? What is it? It's kind of like the way you talk when you have too many cocktails. It's like
that's
all
right.
over the place.
But that's what
I
my
wanna
characters
read that.
are like. My characters are so much freer then. They're like, hey,
That's true.
let's go do a story. Yeah.
That would be a fun. You know what? When we finally write our project together, which we got to do someday,
Yes.
we'll do some writing sessions where we drink and write and brainstorm and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, I'm looking through the questions. Let's see. From the time, Facebook user says, from the time a final draft is turned in, how long to publication?
It depends, doesn't it? There's so many factors that go into that.
For me, it's typically around a year.
A year. Yeah, typically a year.
Which is crazy if you think about it, because then it takes, it's usually, well, not Kara. We'll forget Kara for a minute because she
Sure, but
like
very
pounds
fast
out a book
writer.
in a month. But, it takes me 8 months-ish to write the actual book. So, we're talking about the idea for a book comes, 2 years at least before it's even out in paper. So it's a long process.
Very long. And then if you get into like some major edits, like some of us, that, adds on some time as well.
Yeah. Kara, does Amazon must move faster than that.
They do move faster than that. And I feel like we have I don't know, at least with the 2 books that were in this deal, it was kind of, you'll have a September book and then you'll have a May book. So I kind of knew that was happening. So it is definitely shorter turnaround time.
All right. We have another one. Here's another Facebook user, maybe the same. What determines whether a book comes out as hardback or paperback? Such a good question. I wish I knew the answer.
Yeah, it's changed a little bit. Like I'm typically have always been a trade paperback author. My books have come out in trade paperback, but now it seems like there's this kind of trend where they come out dual, like you can get hardcover or paperback at the same
simultaneous
time.
release.
Yeah. And that's just been the last few years, which I think is nice because, there are those readers who really love their hardcovers and, they collect. And then there's, for the budget point, like, hardcovers can be pricey. So the trade paperbacks are, a little bit more economical in that sense.
Yeah. My answer is the same because Heather and I are actually at the same publisher. And so same thing. They started me off as trade paperback. And then I want to say with Dear Wife, maybe from that point on, they were doing the simultaneous release. And they actually call them, at least my editor calls them library editions.
Oh, okay.
Rather than actual hardbacks, because I guess they really, libraries do love them.
To the library, yeah.
Because they hold up longer. Yeah.
And then there's the whole large print edition, which I'm beginning to appreciate more and more as each moment goes by. I'm like, large print. Now I see why people need those. But anyway, so that's a whole other thing too, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Facebook users back and said maybe the storms caused a power outage in Megan's area. Are there big storms there?
Oh,
in Melbourne?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay.
Oh, I hope not. I hope everything's okay.
Thank you, Nikki. We're trying our best.
Yes, we're doing our best. Give us some more questions. What else you got?
Absolutely. Well, we can do while we're waiting. Oh, there she is! Yay! Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Hi, Megan.
Massive internet problems this morning. Hi.
Hi. Welcome. We're so happy you made it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited to be on your podcast.
You're welcome. Well, we were talking about how excited we are and readers are for Dark Corners. and how it's the second installment in, after the night swim. Correct. And so maybe you can give us a quick elevator speech about what Dark Corners is about.
Sure. So Dark Corners is it's a crime thriller with Rachel Carl, who was in the Night Swim. She's a true crime podcaster. And for her podcast series, she covers different cases. And in this particular instance, she's been asked to come down to Florida by the FBI because her name has somehow cropped up in relation to the disappearance of an influencer who has just mysteriously disappeared from her van in a forest. And Rachel's being asked to speak to a prisoner in jail who may have information about the disappearance and who happens to be an obsessive fan of hers as well.
It sounds amazing. Very creepy. Good.
Yeah. And Karen Slaughter calls Dark Corners a gripping story that is equal parts shocking, unnerving, and thrilling. Goldin takes the true crime trope to new and unexpected territory. Publishers Weekly gave the book a starred review and said outstanding. Goldin's thriller casts a searing light on small town politics. Dark Corners got another starred review from Booklist, who said Goldin's prose is inviting, at times electrifying, always sensitive, and dealing with hot button issues. Well done. So, Megan, congratulations on all that. You are on the Killer Author Club, so we always ask the killing question, which is, when do you kill? Fiction.
If we're talking about my writing, I whenever I can squeeze it in between being my children's chauffeur, personal chef, laundry woman, and whatever else it is I do. I try and write during the day when the kids are at school, but my kids are now getting a bit older and their school hours are becoming a little less, when they, I've got one in university now and I've got one who's sort of towards the end of high school. So they come and they go a bit, which is starting to really annoy me.
Yeah, I just want to kind of get that groove of writing, right? When you're all coming in at different times.
Yeah, I really need to write in complete silence. Like I just can't have any distraction, and
I'm the same. Yeah,
and I can't have people even in the house. We kind of have an echoey house, and so if I'm working, and then you sort of hear, the floorboards creaking or doors closing or whatever.
That's so interesting. Yeah. I have to have noise. I have to have noise when I write. Kara, how about you?
Quiet. I have to have quiet. I'm the same way. Yeah, like, is that a kid coming in the door? I'm going to kill it. No. What are you doing here? Hi, it's so good to see you.
I actually have. I got them I started using them during. We had a very long lockdown. I live in Australia. We had a very long lockdown and homeschooling the kids, and it was a nightmare. And I was working a lot in the car, which sounds ridiculous, but it was the only quiet place I could find. But it stopped being quiet because the neighbors next door, because everyone was in lockdown, they started working from their front garden, which was on the other side of the fence. So I was in the car and then they'd start coming and doing their work calls and I couldn't concentrate. So I actually went and I got a pair of construction worker headphones.
Okay.
And you put them on and it's just total quiet. You can't hear a thing. And I actually like them. I even use them now sometimes. They're quite good. Yeah.
I did that too during the pandemic. The noise canceling headphones.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
these ones are like construction workers for drilling and they're bright orange.
Yeah, I like that idea. Those are probably even better. Yeah, because I can still hear things every once in a while coming through. But construction worker, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. I have headphones too, like the noise canceling, not the construction ones. But that's the only way sometimes when there are too many people in my house. I'm like, yeah. So where did the idea for like the true crime podcast come from? I mean, I know it's super popular. Are you a big fan of those? Is that something that you listen to a lot?
Yeah, I do. I actually haven't listened lately. I've been sort of there's just only so many hours in the day. But I am a big fan of podcasts generally and the true crime ones. I mean, I listen like everyone else to Serial, for example. I guess in some ways that inspired the Rachel Crowell character. I was a journalist for a long time, and it's still my passion. And so I like the whole investigative nature of being able to investigate a crime and go into it in a lot of depth and in a lot of layers. And so that's what Rachel Crowell does with her podcasts. And it sort of came when I started doing the night swim, because the night swim, it looks at a case of a sexual assault, of a rape of a teenager, and the court case that follows that affects the entire town. And Rachel comes into that town to cover the case. And so when I started writing that, I don't plan really. I just sort of start writing about things that interest me, and then I get caught up in the story. So I think as I was writing that, I kind of invented Rachel, because I just thought it would be a really nice way to tell that story through the eyes of a podcaster who's covering the trial and give an interesting perspective. And I loved the character, and I got, a lot of people writing to me saying that they really liked Rachel and they wanted to see more of her. So I thought, well, why not? But I didn't want to just write anything. So I kind of waited a bit, and I wrote a book called Stay Awake last year. Mm-hmm. And then when I sort of had the idea for Dark Corners, I started writing it. And again, it's another Rachel Crowell sort of investigation podcast story, but it's a little bit different from the night swim. It's not a court case. So I tend not to want to repeat myself in my writing. So, I mean, I could envisage doing more court case sort of, stories in the future, but I like to mix things up a bit. Sure. But I loved writing, for the night swim, the trial and everything. It was like, for me, I was like seventh heaven, because I've always wanted to write a thriller with a court case in it, and my dad was a lawyer, so I guess I've always had that. There you go. Yeah, but it was just nice with Dark Corners to get Rachel to do something else in a different location and a completely different type of story as well. And yes. I can see how she's grown as a character too.
And so this one is set in Florida, correct? And so yes. Did you travel to Florida, or do you, why did you choose to set the story there?
Well, I lived in Florida quite a while back. So I don't know, it just worked for me. I think initially it was actually in a different location, and it didn't quite work, that location. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what, this could work in Florida. So
isn't it funny sometimes if you like switch a location or even just a name of a character, all of a sudden it comes alive in your head, and then it all of a sudden works.
Yeah, it just needs to gel, and sometimes you just have to play around with it. And you write up these sort of in these sort of dead end alleys, and you're like, okay, that's not going to work, and you go back, and then you kind of realize a different way of doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of how Rachel Crowell came about too, because when I wanted to write the story of the night swim, it was such a difficult story to write, and it just made so much sense to write it through, with Rachel as a protagonist.
Yeah. It was so beautifully written. It was such a tough subject matter, but so beautifully written. I mean, the story just really resonated. And as you said, readers love the Rachel. And so do you think you'll have another Rachel story for us, or next time around?
No, I do. I have some ideas, and I really like Rachel as a character, and I kind of I get her, because I worked in journalism for a long time, and so I really understand her world and her way of thinking. So and I love being able to write the podcast chapters as well. I think it's just a really interesting sort of narrative tool. So and it kind of gives her a voice that she wouldn't, a character wouldn't normally be able to have a voice as sort of distinct as the one that she has in her podcast chapters.
Yeah. It's a great technique. And now, do you plot these out, or are you a pantser, or how do you write?
Oh, I'm a pantser. I hate the way I my writing style because because it's just, first of all, it's highly stressful. Start writing and you never quite know what's happening. And second of all, you know, you line up, like I said before, you line up going up sort of these dead end valleys and having to then sort of take a week or a month of work and bin it and start again. But I find that if I would like to have a little bit more, what's the word, discipline in my, you know, when I plan these things. I would like to have a little bit more planning. But what I found is that often my stories go in directions that I could never have imagined if I had sat down and planned the whole thing out from the beginning. And the perfect example is my book Stay Awake last year, where it was just totally from the seat of my pants. It was just, I was in the character's shoes and the character was taking me on all these different directions and all these things happened. I could never in a million years have, you know, sat down and actually thought it up in advance. So there definitely are the advantages of writing in that way, but it's more stressful and it can be, you know, you end up wasting time sometimes going in the wrong direction. And yeah.
But it's so fun when it's
we
flowing.
talk about this a lot.
We
Yes.
do. Yeah, it's so fun when your character's like taking you on the adventure and you're just going along for the ride. That's the best.
Yeah, I think that there's something to it because you don't know what's happening yourself as a writer. So if you don't know what's happening, that creates so much, you know, so much tension, suspense for the readers because, you know, literally I have no idea what's happening next. So yeah.
I know, I agree. I think that's so fun. Yeah.
But I want to take up for all plotters everywhere. My characters take me on some unexpected journeys too. So even, you know, stuff that's not in my outline. But for me, it's I need a roadmap. Otherwise, I get so lost.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to do that. I'd like to somehow take the best of both worlds and combine them because there's a lot to be said for having a roadmap when you start writing, and it reduces, I think, your stress level. Because when I'm writing a first draft, I'm so totally stressed. Because you just have no idea if it's going. It's like making a recipe at home, some complicated recipe. You have no idea if it's going to, you know, turn out or not. You're inviting guests for dinner, and you're like experimenting with the menu. It's not an easy way to do it.
No, I need to be prepared. Okay, so Niels has a question. Her friend is about to go to Australia to study abroad, and she has to ask, why is McDonald's called Macca's? Is that how you say it?
Macca's, because Australians like to shorten, we love to shorten everything. So everything has a nickname, everything. And if your name's like, you know, Diane, you're Di. And if you're Di, then it'll be D. It'll, you know, whatever you can do to shorten something, you will. So, yeah, so that's why McDonald's is Macca's.
Too. That's a great question.
I love it. So, Megan is giving away 2 copies of Dark Corners to 2 lucky winners. All you have to do is answer this question about our killer guest, and we will pick tomorrow around this time from the correct answers bonus points for joining the Killer Author Clubhouse Facebook group or subscribing to our YouTube channel. And the question is, what well-known news outlet was Megan a correspondent for? Who could it be?
Don't tell them, Megan. We read your bio earlier, so they'll know.
So they know the whole scoop for sure. Yeah. So yes. And the Killers love independent booksellers. We love what they do for our communities. And Megan has selected The Poison Pen in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Megan, why did you choose The Poison Pen?
First of all, I love the name.
Yeah, no kidding.
Great name.
Yeah, and second of all, my one of my sons is a basketballer, and he's moving to Phoenix to play to finish high school. Wow. And play basketball. So I'm hoping that I'll be there to see him and to visit the Poison Pen. It's an amazing bookstore. And anybody in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, it's definitely worth the trip to go to. It's such a personable store. The owners and the workers are just like know their stuff, and like I think they have signed copies of books from just about every author that has a new book out. It's pretty amazing.
Love it.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, you guys. You all know membership has its privileges. Every episode, we choose a name from the Killer Author Clubhouse to win a piece of Killer Author Club swag. And that will include, wait, where's my swag? Okay, we have totes, we have mugs, we have hats, we have all that kind of stuff. So anyway, tonight's winner, and it's all on killerauthorclub.com if you want to grab some. Tonight's winner is Niels Behringer, who just asked a question, which is
Niels is here. Yay.
So please send one of the killers your address, and we'll send some Killer Author swag your way.
Yes. And Megan, good news. You have officially survived the Killer Author Club. So we bestow upon you this lovely badge. We'll send it to you. You can print it out, hang it on your wall, paste it to a t-shirt, whatever you want to do. But congratulations, you survived.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And so that does it for tonight's episode. We're so glad that Megan was able to make it. And we thank you for being here, despite the little gremlins that are in all our computers that seem to make things difficult, right? We are going to be back again next week on July 25th with the one and only Samantha Downing, who will be chatting with us about her new thriller, A Twisted Love Story. So make sure that you join us for that. But for times, full schedule, past episodes, recipes, and merch, surf to killerauthorclub.com. And we'll see you right back here in 1 week. In the meantime, go buy yourself a Killer Author Club t-shirt.
And some
next time.
I guess I'm a killer through our love into the